So welcome back to On the Ride with Mateo and Hunter. It's been a minute, but we're back. We're back to making podcasts. So
glad to be back.
Yep. So just make sure to like and subscribe. This is our 5th podcast.
Big 5-0. Big 5-0.
Our high tech board, and
we're back on it.
We would just like to take a second to thank all those mothers out there.
Yeah.
Last weekend was Mother's Day, so thanks for giving birth to all of us.
Yeah,
youngins.
We appreciate you guys doing your thing, being moms.
Heck yeah, and don't forget the dads, because we wouldn't be here without them either.
That's true too.
But
they have their own day.
Yeah, that's what Father's Day is for. So, all right, let's run the intro.
All right, so we've got all 4 podcasts completely edited. They're ready to go.
And they should be posted by the time you're viewing this one.
Oh,
hopefully,
yeah.
Or else we done messed up real bad.
Real bad. But all of those are being finalized and uploaded. And we also have our social media going on. We have all our pages basically done, right?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. YouTube obviously set up in order for you to watch it.
And then
Spotify.
We're also going to be getting Spotify so you can listen to our podcast.
And probably Apple.
And Apple Podcasts. So stay tuned for those. We're going to have links to everything down below. Or if you're interested in YouTube and you're hearing this on Spotify, you'll have a link to YouTube too.
Yeah, and then you can see our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
You don't just have to listen to us, you can watch us.
Exactly.
And that adds a whole nother dimension.
Dimension.
Dimension. That reminds me, I was playing Taboo this past weekend, and literally the word opera comes out, right?
Oh,
and I was sitting there and I was trying to think of like ways to get it, and so I go, I'm like, blank Winfrey, right? Like Oprah Winfrey, right? And I know it's spelled different, and I know that they're like they're like not the same. Like I know that
I see the idea behind that though.
Yeah, I know the card was asking for something else, but I was literally like blank Winfrey, and they're like, Oprah, and then like I go and I'm like, yes, and I put it down, and then literally the people on my team were like, that's not the same. I'm like, okay,
gosh,
chill.
Really be your own.
Yeah, I know. So dimension, not dynamtion.
Words are important.
Yeah, there you go. But I don't know. It's been a while. So what have you been up to?
So long. Went back home for Mother's Day, so that was really nice. Back with the family.
Heck yeah.
Obviously school's over. So I'm a little bit free because I don't have classes till way later in the summer. So
yeah, you're still taking summer classes though, right?
Yeah, but not until like the summer B period. Okay. So the one that starts in July.
Yeah, so you still have like a month.
So like a month to just do what I want, apply to a job. We'll see if I get it. If not, we'll keep doing the podcast. We'll keep doing everything else I do.
Fun stuff. I graduated, so I mean that's exciting.
Heck yeah. And you're working.
Yeah, I start full-time Monday, so that'll be the 8 to 5 grind.
Have fun with that.
I know, but I'll be able to make money.
That's true.
Get a new car.
Nice.
So that's all like exciting, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Being a real adult kind of sucks. So all these real adults out there watching,
listen up, kids. Stay in school.
Stay in school. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Be in college.
When adults said stay in school, they didn't mean like, oh, don't skip school. They meant just like stay in school for as long as you can.
Don't ever graduate.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. What'd you do for Mother's Day?
Let's see. We made breakfast for my mom. We ended up going out to a park nearby. Just kind of like chilling with the fam, being home since like, being in college, you're not with your mom as much.
Yeah, I went home for Mother's Day, obviously, and my mom, like, I guess, I didn't tell her, because I was like, I don't know, like, it wasn't, like, meant to be a surprise, but, like, it just kind of happened that it was a surprise, and she literally cried.
Oh,
I know.
That's so nice.
I know, so I guess she literally, but also, I went home Saturday, like, I got there, like, Saturday midday, so I usually go, like, Fridays.
Okay.
So then she probably was just like when I didn't come home Friday, and then like not Saturday morning. Coming. Yeah. So, but then we just spent time in the pool.
Super nice.
We did that. My dad made this like really good like steak dinner. My parents went out and bought from like some like meat truck thing. Like,
The ribeye thing?
yeah.
I
they
saw
went,
that on my way in town.
Like 20 of them.
It was 20 ribeyes for $30.
Yeah.
That's like a freaking steal.
Okay, but they spent
Were they
way
good?
more money. Oh, they were really good. But they went and bought some like filet mignons. They bought like
At the
T-bones.
same little place?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
how they hook you in.
They spent so much money, but like it all looks so good. So they're just like freezing it right now.
Yeah.
But oh man.
Nice.
But yeah, we had that.
Meat for days.
Yeah, right. We had the ribeyes. We had potatoes on the grill, and corn, all that good stuff. So
I love corn on the grill. I think that's one of my like favorite things. Like growing up, just like barbecues and stuff, you know.
Yeah. And then I brought home the new beer pong table and we played with my family, and
that was fun.
It was kind of funny because my dad like is like a little iffy about like drinking with us. Even though like I'm like 21.
Yeah,
well, I'm
you're
22.
Most of you were legal.
Well, my sisters weren't like drinking.
Yeah.
It was just like I was with them, and you know, so. But he's like super weird, so like he wasn't playing it. He was just kind of like relaxing in the background.
Nice.
But like we were all playing, and my sisters were playing with like
That's
water.
funny. Was he still
or
drinking?
Yeah, he had like
Or was
some
he,
beer.
like-
Yeah,
okay.
he just like he's always been like super weird. I think like this
I
was
feel
one of
that.
the first times I've like
Ever drunk in front of him?
I like they bought me my first like drink drink when I was 21.
Nice.
But I don't know. I did the air quotes because that was my first legal drink. My first drink, not legal drink. Oh man.
Dang.
Because I'm a
That's funny.
good boy, but
We're all good boys here.
yeah. So I mean, I've drank a few times with them, but not like drink. You
I've
know.
only had like wine with my parents.
Really, I've never had wine. Well,
That's
I've
it.
had wine with my mom, but
But it's like for like Thanksgiving and stuff.
yeah.
But we also don't like drink too much. I would
Yeah.
say I drink more than my parents do. And my parents like barely drink.
I went to St. Augustine with like Gabby and her family, and
That sounds like
you
fun.
know we were having like drinks there, and they made like homemade banana daiquiris that were really good. So then her uncle let me try some of his like whiskey,
Mhm.
and it was like better than Fireball. It was I want to say it was Jack Daniel's,
Solid.
but it was like it was the same like cinnamon.
Like
pepper.
type flavor.
Yeah, but just like 2 shots of that, I was like, oh my god. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Is that the same uncle that I met? Or no? Did I ever meet that guy?
I don't think so. You've met her grandpa.
That's the guy
That
I'm
guy's
thinking
a
about.
crazy.
He's a hoot.
Crazy man.
He's a hoot.
I don't know. Like probably most of these people don't know, but like you know how like sometimes I just like flick my tongue.
Yeah.
You like it's just like it's a playful gesture.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
So-
silly, you know?
So I did that to her grandpa, like just to mess with him, because he's like that guy, and he literally started doing it back like all weekend.
Oh gosh.
But then like when he would do it back, like they like some of his family would like catch him doing it and be like, "What the heck?"
He
is
like
wrong with
wasn't
you?"
slick with it?
Yeah, no, he'd be like, like super like weird, not even like funny, like weird.
Yeah.
And they'd be like dad, or they'd be like grandpa, like what are you doing? And like,
Oh gosh.
and then he'd be like, oh, I was just messing with Hunter. And they'd look at me, and then I'd act like I was like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
what
I
are you
don't
talking
know.
about? Yeah.
So then that was like most of the time I spent there. He'd like do it, and I'd like,
So
and then everyone else would be like, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, but I mean, so we spent some time on the beaches and stuff, and that was
That's
fun.
nice.
Yeah, the Atlantic
miss the
Ocean is
beaches.
just crazy.
That's true.
Like it was just like the waves were just a different animal. I wish I could surf.
Right? Aren't they like 2 to 3 times the size?
For sure. Like
Like
I don't
compared
know.
to like our like Gulf of Mexico waves that are like
Yeah,
not
like
even
they're
waves.
like the waves out there, like actually like they curl up, you know,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. Like we were trying to like body surf and stuff.
Mhm.
And then Savannah
So much fun.
learned about like this app that like records sharks. You know, like there's an
Oh,
app
no
that
way.
like tracks sharks because they just try to. There's some like project where they like try to like tag all of them, and like so it'll whenever a great white like crests the water, it like
Yeah.
pings.
Interesting.
So like literally there's one in the St. Augustine area within like a day of like when we were there. So I was like, I don't know, man.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, like and they're like you
Sharks
know, like
always terrify
12
me.
feet long and like
Yeah, they're huge.
yeah, but
That's a weigh like tons.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Open water is always like such a weird like thing. You know, you
Yeah.
don't know what's underneath.
Because you really don't. And there's like so many old things that like, you know, like those like stories on the news where like they'll like find some like super old fish and it just like looks
And it's
prehistoric.
ugly. It has like
and,
bulging eyes.
Yeah. It's like those kinds of things that are like, you don't know what's out there. And that's just scary. Especially like the ocean at night.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, man, it's crazy. But, you know, so I was like back at home, like I'm friends with like some people from high school.
Yeah.
And then I have like younger sisters, so they're friends. Like they have like one of my sisters is literally in high school still.
Yeah.
So I saw this story that someone shared, and it was about this girl from my high school. And it was a news story, and she was just like basically complaining about how she like didn't get a graduation, and I just like, why is that a news story? You know, like first of all, it's high school.
Yeah.
Like no offense to these like the high schools
Yeah.
that are graduating,
Exactly.
but like you could have it worse. You could not graduate, you know, from college.
In college, yeah.
Because like I don't know, high school is not as like impressive.
I feel like it's not that. Yeah, it's not that big. And also,
like if I had to
I don't
choose,
know.
you know, I would definitely
Yeah.
choose to do one over the other.
exactly.
So, but then like people are like, oh, we're so proud of you. But also, what is the story? You know, like it's not just her that's like missing graduation.
Yeah.
It's literally like
Everyone.
thousands, if not hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of people right now are
I'd imagine.
having the same
Because like
thing.
there's
as her.
no school right now that's open. So
Exactly. So like literally so many people. It's not just her that's sitting. Like literally, there's like a couple hundred people from the same high school that are missing their graduation. So
What
I
makes
just thought
her
that was
special,
stupid.
you know?
Yeah, I just thought it was stupid. I don't know. Like I forget her name. If you watch it,
if you watch it,
if you watch this, sorry. I mean, you know, you're not special.
we
we're
don't
like,
feel for you.
yeah, we're all struggling from the same thing. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, just try to be positive. I guess you know. I guess that's what I'm doing. Also, it's not like all these schools are trying to like plan to reschedule. Like
Yeah, it's not like she's not graduating.
like most likely you're gonna get that chance. So
Yeah.
stop, just suck it up, man.
Exactly.
Just suck it up.
Also, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you get your
You
education.
actually- yeah.
And she is graduating in that sense.
Yeah, that you're actually getting your diploma and that like
Yeah.
okay.
So I can't feel like too, you know,
Yeah.
like it sucks and I'll give you that, but also not worth complaining about.
Yeah, and it's also I guess I don't know her like situation,
Yeah.
but like, you know, maybe if she was like valedictorian or like student body president or something, because then they get to make speeches, and maybe she's been dreaming of that. But like, I don't really think like I don't know. Just looking at who it was, I was like, I don't think that she was any of that. I don't even know if she was in the National Honor Society, you know, because they get to wear like
those
cool like
stoles and
yeah.
stuff, and they get extra. Like,
So I mean, like, if you're just walking the back of everyone, like,
Yeah.
who cares? Like, your family's there, but that's it. You know,
I agree.
like, no one's impressed. But anyways, that was kind of mean.
Now that we're done roasting this chick,
Yeah. At least I don't actually know her name. It's not like I'm just like.
yeah, that's a good thing.
So she probably doesn't know
Also,
me
nobody
either.
knows where we're from, so
Yeah, other than like probably the main people that are watching
Yeah.
this know exactly where we're from.
we're looking at you.
But I don't know. So you were telling me about like a nightmare or something, right?
I mean, all throughout like my childhood, I've been scared of like aliens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I wouldn't say these are like connected. Maybe they are. I like maybe some therapist knows that like my dreams are connected and they can see the dots align. But as far as I know, I've had this dream where I was in like my room, like sleeping, and this is back home, and I was a kid, and so I like wake up and I end up going to the kitchen, and it's like morning. It's like not weird at all. Right?
Yeah.
This dream isn't like things are funky. Everything's like as it would be, so it's like very realistic. And I end up going to the kitchen, and I see like this figure, and then it turns out that that figure is like these three little aliens, right? So like
Wait. So they were three separate aliens, or they
three separate aliens, but they made like one tall figure, and they were getting on top of the counter, right?
Okay.
And so these aliens get on the counter, and they're like probably not bigger than like, let's say that skull, that pie.
Alright.
each of them from like head to toe. But together they were able to get on the counter, and they were like trying to get out through the window. So I'm like what, like 12 or maybe 10 at this age, and this like terrifies me. And then all throughout like my life, I've seen like slight hints of like terrestrial life, like UFOs, you know. So
Yeah.
like little old me would be like in the car, and I like look up and I see this little like what seems to me at the time, you know, being young,
Yeah.
a flying saucer or something. Because I see these
Flying
like three
saucer.
lights. Have you seen those videos where it's like three lights, and they're just like spinning, and it's like, what could that be?
Yeah.
Like, I like saw that when I was a child, and I was just like, whatever. But like that night, I was so scared. So like that nightmare just hit me like really hard, and it was like weird because I was like a kid, so I like didn't know like what anything was.
Yeah.
But you ever have a nightmare like that?
Well, so that's funny because that reminds me of one that wasn't a nightmare. Apparently, like this is a story that my mom told me, was that like she one night, I don't know where the rest of my siblings were. I think Lewis was in college, so he wasn't there, and then my sisters, I guess, have their own room. So
Yeah.
but I was sleeping in my room, I was sleeping, and my mom from our kitchen sees like this like figure run like across the hall and like
So
towards my room, right? So I don't know. Instead of telling my dad or anything, right? She grabs this like huge like steak or this butcher knife or something like that, right? She's like holding it,
Yeah.
like she like legit thought that something like
Like
random.
someone was in there or something.
Yeah. So she like walks in and she like opens the door, and then she like the lights off or whatever because I was sleeping, and she like walks in slowly, and then I woke up to my mom like holding a knife over my head. I was like, what the heck, you know?
Yo, that's so scary.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I had this nightmare a couple years ago when I had like a really bad like sinusitis thing, and I was in the ER and all this stuff. I was taking. Oh, I can't remember what it was, like some like decongestant or something.
Okay.
And it was like, I don't know, certain ones that have to do with your sinuses, I guess. You're not allowed to take that pill for more than like a couple days in a row.
Okay.
Or else it like worsens your sickness or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I was taking them, and then I didn't know that leading up to this point. So then I was having literally like weird like dreams. I was like talking in my sleep,
Okay.
and all this stuff. But this one
That's
dream,
scary.
yeah, like I literally apparently had a whole conversation with like Wesley and Gabby like in my sleep, and like
That's so scary.
yeah, exactly. And I was like having these weird like visions, and I mean that's why I went to the ER, right?
Yeah.
But so I had this dream though that literally it was almost like it was a while ago, but it was basically like the devil, and he was like this huge
God.
devil, right? And he was holding me like I was like this tiny little thing
Yeah.
by like the back of the shirt, and it was like literally like
Gosh.
almost like a weight, like a scale,
Yeah.
and it was like literally like he'd like go and like set me on this one side of the scale, and it said like death, and then like the other
Oh
side that said
my.
life or something like that, and like he like kept doing it, and I was like, oh my god, am I gonna die?
That's so scary. What the heck?
Yeah.
I'll take my aliens over that any day.
Yeah, for real. And then so that was like probably the weirdest dream that I've had.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, that was like insane. And I remember telling people about it, and they're like, "You okay?"
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'd be asking the same question.
Yeah, right. So that was probably my scariest nightmare dream, because like that was a weird time.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know
think
what
of
I
like
think.
other dreams that I've had. I mean, like aliens are super like it's just weird. I don't know that I'm necessarily scared of them, but like you know they're an interesting
Yeah.
entity. You know.
I just think like the way I saw them, I was like freaked out because I was a kid, and also like I didn't think about like aliens being like here in my house, doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
like
that I believe it was
yeah,
real.
like Lil Dicky always said, you know, he's like, oh, what did he say?
If the aliens were coming, would we be able to defend ourselves?
Yeah, like if they came, would they like be impressed by like our fighting,
What
or
we've
would we
done.
just be another like place that they're conquering? You know.
All good points. All good points.
Yeah. So thank you, Dave Bird.
Yeah, you've been blessed.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like aliens remind me of like ghosts and just what my mom's like thing with like holding a freaking knife over my head.
That's scary. I can't imagine waking up to that.
Right.
So like, I don't know what I'd do. I'd be like, mom.
Mom, she's like possessed. I'm
yeah.
Like, chill. I don't know. Ghosts are just as cool to me as like aliens. Like when I went to Savannah, that's supposed to be one of the. That's supposed to be one of the like the most haunted like places, and like they tell all these stories. And like I don't know, my mom and sisters had been to Savannah, and they went on these ghost tours, and they got a bunch of like pictures of like little like thing, like you could see like these things in the back.
It's like the little balls, right?
Yeah, and or like you can like sometimes like actually make out like faces.
Faces, yeah.
But when I went on the ghost tour, I didn't get any. I took so many pictures, didn't get any. But the ghost tour was like super dope because we went at like, I think it was like 9:30 or 10 p.m.
Nice, it was all dark.
Yeah. And like our freaking guide was the weirdest human I've ever seen.
That adds to it, I bet.
But it was funny because when we went, one of the guys in our group I thought was the guide because he literally was wearing like, he like had a tucked in shirt, like belt. He had, like the Dwight Schrute, like little cell phone holder on your belt. Folder. He had like that, and there's like a flip phone.
Nice.
And literally, so this cockroach runs across the ground, right?
What the?
Like in the like plaza that we were waiting in at night. And he goes and he literally picks it up with his hands and just like walks and just sets it down like in the grass or something like that. And I was like, that guy's a weirdo. But
I don't know anybody who'd do that.
Yeah, well, and then the guy that was our guide.
Yeah.
He looked like the weirdest human I've ever seen. And I feel like you had to be, for your job to be
like a ghost tour guide, dude.
But then when we were in St. Augustine, they had ghost tours, and I wish that would have been dope because those are also like super like, that's a super historic town. I think it's like the oldest city or town in Florida.
Yeah.
Or one of the oldest. So that would be a cool place. Yeah, our old roommate, my old roommate who used to live in your room, Rabin, he swears that our place is haunted, our apartment.
No way.
Yeah.
But
he didn't have any stories, really.
Yeah. I can see where he's coming from based off like the weird, like we've had like incidents, right? Where you've been like,
well, you and I both.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it was on that same night that like we had the time where we were both like, something weird's going on. 'Cause basically this was after our third roommate like left, right? So it was just us two.
Yeah, I don't know if he had left. He might just not have been staying with us or something.
Yeah, but I think he wasn't here. So the point was only both of us were here. And I remember being in my room and hearing people like come down the stairs, and like the way it's set out, obviously my room is like right underneath the staircase, so I can hear like anytime anybody goes up or down. And I clearly hear somebody like run down, like very forcefully, like run down or run up. And I'm like, oh, Hunter's probably coming down.
Yeah.
And then I go and I see that you're like literally not there. And I'm like, all right, that's creepy.
Yeah.
And then what makes things creepier is this same night, somebody knocks on the door. And literally I go to open it and nobody's there. And I think later on you came down.
Yeah, we tried looking. But didn't you say that you opened the door and you heard like yelling or something like that?
Oh my God, yeah. So I literally opened the door. I heard yelling and I like looked around and I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. And I think also like with the yelling, I like heard like movement. Like you hear like people move, like in this case with all the leaves we have, you can hear the like leaves brushing up.
Of course.
But you can just hear all that and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that's when I like closed the door and locked it and I was like, all right, this is freaky.
Yeah. I mean, that is really weird. But, like, also, it wasn't just you hearing. Like I multiple times thought our, like, washer and dryer upstairs. So I thought multiple times that night, I also thought someone was, like, running up and down our stairs, like, multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought you were doing laundry. And then I, like, came down later that night and, like, you had told me, you were like, oh, no, like, that wasn't.
I didn't have anything up.
Yeah. So then that was super weird because we both experienced it.
Oh yeah.
And like honestly, our apartment complex is it's one of the oldest in Gainesville.
Yeah, it is older.
And because I know I've talked to like some people that are like adults that have kids now, and they're like when they came to UF.
Oxford Manor was.
Yeah, Oxford Manor was an apartment complex.
That's crazy.
But also it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's not scary, but like if you go outside, it's like spooky. You know, like there's like a lot of tree cover.
Pretty dark.
Yeah, it's not like super
Shaded.
lit up. It's like always. No. It always just reminds me of Halloween, just walking outside at night. You know, like it's just.
It's a really good way to put it.
But and then we live in the back of the complex, so like I always thought that it would be
spooky,
the safest area, but you know, like
later we find out
it's always the most quiet.
Not the safest area.
Yeah, that is true, but I don't know.
We'll talk about that.
What if it was haunted? You know. But yeah, so talking about like ghosts and haunted stories. Well, so my roommate. Well, Raven, I don't know why I keep saying roommate. Like, you really know who he is.
I know he is.
For you guys, if you didn't know who Raven was, which hopefully we get him on the podcast, so I feel like we've talked about him a lot, so he kind of needs, you guys need to see his face.
Raven's a good time. He'll give you guys something good.
Yeah. So, he always thought this place was haunted. And I don't even know if I should be telling the story because I don't think he knows what, like, Wesley and I did.
Yeah.
But,
good story.
So we found this tiki.
It's like
I don't know what they're called, but it was like the face of what you'd see on like a
totem pole.
Right? There you go. Yeah. And so it was like this weird like face, you know, like you'd go to Hawaii and you'd see these things and like think it's like haunted, right? So we found this like in a dumpster. So not in a dumpster, but like around a dumpster. I didn't go like inside of a dumpster to grab it.
Dumpster diving.
Yeah. So we bring it home. And we're like, you know, Wesley and I were like, you know what would be funny is if we like try to like, Raven thinks it's haunted. What if we try to like convince him like, you know, it's haunted, right? So what we did was he went to bed or something one night and we like, I don't know if we snuck into his room or if we just like, there were a couple times where we just nailed it up outside of his room, right? So he'd like come out of his room and just see it like on the wall across from him. And he'd be like, guys, like, what the heck is this, right? And we'd just act dumb and be like, I don't know. So the first time he, like, took it down, and I think he just, like, put it somewhere, like, in the apartment. He just, like, set it back down. So we went and we nailed it back up. Or I think this time we, like, put it in his bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Like, in his shower. So he'd, like, be like, what the?
This is so elaborate.
Yeah. So he, like, went, and he saw it again. He's like, guys, this is, like, weird. Like, it keeps reappearing. We're like, yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, maybe you should go throw it away. So he goes, he throws it away. And later that day, like Wesley or I went into the dumpster that time and like grabbed it out. Because we wanted it to be like very like convincing, you know? So we get it, we like put it on his door or something, you know? And he's like, guys, this is really weird. You know, like, so he goes and he throws it away again. And I think at this point he was like moving out. So he was like putting stuff in his car and he had thrown it away. And we're like that's weird, right?
Yeah.
So we go and I think we like grabbed it out of the dumpster and we put it in his car.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like packing up and I was helping him at this point. So I think Wesley like snuck around when Raven was packing and he did it. So we're packing up his car and then I go and I see it and I'm like what the heck, Raven? You know, like it's back. And he's like, oh my gosh. So he's like freaking out. He's like, dude, this is like really weird, like blah 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 blah. So then he goes and we live in the back. So he like there's a fence and there's an apartment complex on the other side. So he goes and he throws it like over the thing, right? Gosh. And he's like, see, like, I don't know, you know, like you can go get it, Hunter, right? So like I was like, I've been helping you this entire time.
Yeah.
How would I be doing it? So I keep helping him. Meanwhile, Wesley goes and he like drives around back and like grabs it. And like I don't know how we were able to do this without Raven noticing. Yeah. But he went, grabbed it, and then he like put it in one of the boxes or something. Oh god. So then Raven found it when he got home. Oh, and he was like, guys, like what the heck is going on?
That's terrifying.
And he like freaked out. I don't think he ever figured out that we didn't do it. I mean, it stopped like coming around, you know, once that was the last time. Yeah. But
so he might very well think that it was because of this apartment.
Yeah, true. Because if he moved out, you know, like he got rid of it.
The evil spirit stayed.
Yeah. Oh, the same time. Yeah, I think he came back one weekend and was crashing on our couch, and I like was upstairs, and I would like sneak around and just start like doing like weird things to like spook him. Like I don't remember what I was doing, but like he was like very spooked when
That's
all the
awesome.
light. I'm pretty sure he tried sleeping with the lights on down here.
That's such a good prank.
I know.
But that's so elaborate. Like
I know. We've done our
it's
decent. We've tried some pranks on him, but
yeah. I mean, yeah.
we could save that for another podcast. We're kind of running out of material for when we get to Halloween.
Yeah, that's actually true. These are good stories.
But I don't know. So going back to just ghosts and stuff, one of the reasons we think it's haunted is this year. I mean, it wasn't when Reagan was living here, but we straight up think that I don't know. Was it confirmed?
I don't think it was ever confirmed, but
we're like 90% sure someone died, and like kind of positive that someone was like murdered there.
Yep, I would say so.
Yeah. So that's intense.
That's like scary.
Like 2 doors down, like straight up, like
exactly. It's not like somebody in our neighborhood died. It's like literally 2 doors down. There was like terrible crime.
Yeah. And like we saw so much blood.
Yeah. The thing is, we saw way too much to think that this person
there's no way
still
they
alive.
Were, yeah. So that's why we're sure they're dead. Maybe not murdered, but like the stories we've heard.
Things like this don't like. I don't know how someone would survive that. Also, just like the detective coming up to us, like it just intensified everything.
So start the story.
So we'll start from my perspective.
Here, zoom in.
So it's just like a regular day of class, right?
Yeah.
So
it was right before. It was like a couple weeks, like 2 weeks, maybe a week before Halloween.
Yeah, it was literally like perfect timing. Not that there's a perfect time for murder, but you get what I mean. It's spooky season. So I'm coming home. I'm riding my scooter. I'm just getting back to my apartment.
I'm riding my scooter,
and I get back, and I'm like, what's going on? Maybe I was driving. I don't know. Point is, I come back from classes. This whole back area, there's like this complex, the one over there, and the other one, and we're like in a corner. And so this whole part's like sealed off. And I see like 3 or 4 cop cars, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, somebody got busted for drugs, like, like, I guess typical things that like people our age might get in trouble for. But I'm like, 4 cop cars, like, no way. Like, it has to be something more. And also the area sealed off. Like, that's weird.
My car was in there. Like, we went to do something, and we couldn't drive my car because it was like in the area.
Exactly. Luckily, I was gone, so I could park my car outside. But they sealed off the area. You couldn't access it. So I end up going up to one of the cops, and I'm like, excuse me, am I like allowed to go back home? And they're like, which apartment do you live in? And I'm like, oh, I live in like the apartment right over here. And of course our apartment is past the one where like the crime happened. And at this point, I'm like, something bad happened. I have no idea what it is. And he's like, oh yeah, you can go here. Go ahead and just, go around the back. And I was like, that's weird. I guess I can't like pass through the front. Like they can't just let me like slide through. So I end up coming in through our back door. And that's when I texted you because I was like, hey, like, can you open the back door for me? Can I just like get in through here? Yeah. Just because, first of all, I don't even know if you can get through the front by going all the way around. But I assume you can.
You can. But because our apartment technically wasn't roped off. It was just that the section leading up to get in
was all roped off.
Because you texted me, and so I was awake like at this time. It was like in the morning, and he texted me and he's like, hey, are you home? Like, can you let me in the back door? And I was like, well, it's like freaking weird.
Yeah, why don't you just go in through the front?
Why'd I do that? So I look out and he's just like sitting outside, like of our apartment. And so I go and I let him in, and he's like, yo, like, I don't know what happened, but like there's like something 4 or 5 police cars. There's like a forensic unit.
There's
the whole shebang, right? And I'm like, what? That's insane. So we go and we open our front door and we like look out and like it's all roped off. there were like police going in and out of the house.
Yeah, tons of activity.
Yeah, and like the Oxford Manor.
The manager or whatever.
The manager was there. You know, like everyone was just like there, right? Like
So
that's
sketchy.
super weird. So then like probably like 20, 30 minutes later, literally a detective walks up and he's like, "Hey guys, can I ask you a few questions?" We're like, "Well, yeah, you know, like
Like,
we
go
didn't
ahead.
murder him, so why not?"
Yeah.
Right? And so he's like, "Were you guys home?" And I was like, "He's like, were you guys home between like the hours of like
Yeah.
10:40 to like 12 or something?" Like that,
This is like straight out of like an
And I was
episode of
I
like
was
CSI.
yeah, and I was like, wait. I was literally like, I was awake and home after like 9 a.m. that day. So like, I was for sure
Yeah.
awake, right? And he was like asking me these questions, and we were like, oh, I was like, yeah, I was home, but you know, like I didn't hear anything. And we're like, what happened? And I don't remember him saying
Yeah, he was like, did you hear?
like screaming or.
Yeah, he said some word that implied that there was like some sort of like.
He said, I'm pretty sure he
dispute.
said there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said there was like a dispute or an altercation or something like that. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, like I didn't hear anything. So at this point, we didn't know what it was,
Exactly.
and we're just like, we tried asking him, and we're like, you know, what like happened? He was like, oh, we can't like say.
Yeah, and at the same time, from my view in the room, you could see like out in front of like the apartment unit where like the incident happened, and there was like this bloody rag that almost looked like a t-shirt, and that's like when I was like, when I mean we were both like just paying attention to what was going on outside, because we were looking out like the second floor's windows down there and through my window. And that's when we saw like the bloody rag, and I think that's when we were like, "Oh shit!" And that was before the detective came.
Yeah, but then also just the fact that a detective came and was like trying to talk to us, I feel like, you know, that wouldn't be
Huge
for
sign, yeah.
a drug bust or whatever, right? Like, so that was just crazy in itself. But yeah, so we were confused and we were trying to like look it up, and our other roommate got home later and he was trying to look it up, but meanwhile, right? Didn't we?
So
At some point, they started cleaning up the whole like they took away the crime scene, but
tape.
there's still
But they just left like the evidence there.
yeah, there's
And,
still
like,
people going in and out
in
of
and
that
out.
apartment, and
That's when we left.
yeah, so we went to go and like your equivalent room, the one on the bottom next to the front door, like the window was shattered.
Yeah, like one of the little, because it's like divided into little blocks, and like one whole thing of glass was just shattered.
Yeah, and then
And that's when we
also-
saw the door open.
Yeah, so then the door was also open, and there's literally just a massive, just a puddle of blood.
And also
Like,
blood
a
on the
lot.
like hallway walls, and it's just like, it's a mess. Like when I walked back like through that, I was like sick to my stomach. I was like,
Yeah, like it made you like lightheaded as how much it was. It wasn't just like
Yeah.
the smallest amount of blood, like it was
like
massive.
substantial.
So then, I feel like a couple other things we saw. I mean, we like walked by when we left through the back to go to your car.
Yeah.
We walked and their windows were open, and there was like people in there like cleaning and taking pictures.
Yeah. Like I think the forensic unit probably.
But I don't know. They had to like replace the door. They like
Yeah.
replaced the window. They literally pressure washed everything.
Yeah, they literally hired. I think this part's kind of funny, but they hired a company. I guess they're local or something because I've seen them in the neighborhood. Called don't blank. They were the masters of disasters,
There you go. That's what it was.
which is like in the context not a great name, but holistically, they clean up, I guess, very well.
Yeah. So I guess they no. And what's also weird is that like, so then I called Oxford Manor and was like trying to get information, and they were just saying, they were lying about. Oh, what did they say?
I remember you telling me that you called them and you were like trying to get information about what had happened, and they ended up like telling you like, if I remember correctly, that it was like wasn't our business or something like that.
No. So they gave me some sort of information. Like they were like, oh, you know, like someone like argued. There was an argument or something like that.
Between like
No.
a couple, right?
Maybe not even that much, because I remember being like, oh, you know, that's funny because the detective walked up to my door and said that there's like an altercation or something like that. So it had to be
all
like
coming back together.
Yeah, it had to be like they're
trying to cover it up.
Yeah, the people were like, oh, nothing like big happened. People just, there's an accident or some, and I was like, no, you guys are lying,
Yeah.
And then, okay, so later on, like I think a week later we had our Halloween party, and so we were outside. So we talked about this before. Our Halloween party's theme was It, right? So It has like, balloons and all that stuff. And it's about a clown. So outside of our front door, so like people would know where our party was. We put like, we got a red balloon and we tied it like fishing.
Yeah, we used a little fishing line. So it looked like it was floating.
To a stake in the ground. So it literally looked like it was just a red balloon in the air, right? So we're outside. I think we're taking pictures. Well, funny thing about that was that someone posted on like the local Snapchat story. They like walked up and they're like, nope, not today, and they like turned around, which is just funny. But we're taking pictures outside of our front door, and some random drunk dude walks up. Like I've never seen this guy in my life, and we've seen most of the people that live here. Yeah. So he walks up and he goes and he tells us the story about how he knows what happened, but he's like, oh, it was a domestic dispute, and this one, I think it was like a lesbian couple, and like the one girl, like she like threw her out the window or something like that, and then the girl was bleeding out, and she crawled all the way to the like end of the sidewalk, and I don't know if that's any true at all.
Who knows?
But anyways, I was home when this all happened, and I could have stopped it. Like I could have like called 911. I could have been the difference. So I've been losing sleep over it.
It's okay, buddy.
No, but yeah,
it's crazy when you put things in perspective.
I know what.
Like just 2 doors down, like something like that happens.
And then
that's just wild.
Yeah, and like we still don't know what happened.
Also,
but they let everyone that was living there just move out. Like we saw people moving out.
That's the weirdest part. That everyone who lived there, it didn't seem like they like. I don't want to say that they wanted to, but like.
Well, I never saw
like
the lights on.
Quickly like left.
Yeah.
So I feel like they were forced to move out.
Or they just were like, oh, we know someone was murdered here. Yeah. Like one of your roommates was murdered. You guys can leave if you want.
Yeah. Which either or is like terrible.
Which is funny because I think one of the girls that lived there, I swear I've seen her in like around Oxford Manor still. So I don't know. Maybe they gave him a new apartment. Them. But still, that's
the way.
That's not common for them to just,
be like, hey, let me give you a little upgrade.
And then 3 new people moved in there, and we don't know if they know what happened.
I don't think they would. I mean, if somebody told me somebody told me somebody almost died in this room, and they're like, you want it? I'd be like, no.
You want it? Yeah, that's true. But like, since then, there's an older guy that lives there, and he's literally like one of our other roommate, Wesley, came home one day, and the dude was literally just on a stretcher.
Yeah, like.
So that place is
ambulance.
That place is haunted.
Firefighters.
For sure.
Like, what's going on?
So I don't know. Maybe the haunting is spreading throughout this building, but
hope not. But
we're almost through. So.
Yeah, we're almost through. Out of here.
But yeah, so that's the story of how we think our place is haunted. I wish we actually knew what happened.
Yeah, it sucks because we still don't know, and I feel like we deserve closure.
We deserve closure. Call Oxford Manor and tell them that. But like when we say a lot of blood, like it was a lot of blood.
It was a lot. Like I feel like that's like probably how much you make in like a donation.
Yeah, and the bleeding out part makes sense with the amount of blood, and the fact that they literally put caution tape around the entire all the way to the parking lot would also make sense for why the person crawled all the way down, right?
And also they did pressure wash the whole sidewalk. Because there was, like I said, there was that rag literally completely in blood. So when you put the pieces together and our observations, the weird drunk dude might have not been wrong.
Yeah, he was just weird though. Yeah. We were confused as to why he was talking to us. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, and then But that reminds me of another story, which is, I'll keep it short and simple, but so like right behind us, there's like another apartment complex, and it's like kind of like the ghetto, you know, like it's not like
the nicest place.
Yeah, not at all. And so last year, or like a year and a half ago, Wesley and I were like selling furniture, right? So we'd like find free furniture, resell it, and we made like a bunch of money doing that. But so that's like an idea. If you need money, it's not that bad of an idea. But so we were back in the neighborhood behind us, and we were just driving around looking for couches, like because people will for some reason put couches out by the dumpster all the time.
Yeah.
And they're not like nice couches, but they're like not like in the worst shape.
Yeah,
you know?
they're still decent.
So I saw a couch back there, and Wesley and I went back there, and we were looking at it, and it was like 9-10 p.m. at night, right? And all of a sudden we see this like dude come out. And
it's so creepy.
Yeah, and he starts walking towards us. And he's like, "Hey y'all!" And he starts yelling at us. He's like, "Hey y'all!" And we're like, Wesley and I are like, you know, like just act like nothing happened, right? He's like, "Yo, what you guys doing?" And we're just like ignoring him. We're just like, let's get the couch, like put it in. He's like, "Hey y'all, want to see a dead body?" And we're like,
that's so creepy.
We're like, "What?" And then we're like, "Yo, like get this in the fucking van. Let's get out of here." So. He starts walking towards us. He's like, yo, y'all want to see a dead body? And we're like, oh my god. So we literally dropped the couch, or no, I think we got it in the van.
You did?
Yeah. And then we literally like jump in the freaking car and we speed off. But then this dude got in his car and he followed us out of the neighborhood.
That's so scary.
Yeah. And then we just eventually we made a turn and he stopped following us. But he either was scaring us. Yeah. Or there was some truth to it,
I feel like why would you scare somebody with that though?
Why would you get in a car and follow him? Because he was telling us, he's like, y'all want to see a dead body? We get in our car and leave. It's not really a coincidence, that he got in his car. That was meaningful, tried, I feel like he tried to scare us off. So maybe there was a dead body and he wanted to scare us off so that we wouldn't see it,
That's an interesting tactic to getting somebody to not see your dead body.
Well, and then he'd get in his car and fall. That's the part
true.
that's just a little weird, why would you do that?
Dang. That's spooky.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's...
Oh, it almost reminds me of the time where it was us four. It was Wesley, Raven, you and I. And we were driving through the back roads. And you were driving out of nowhere. That dog starts barking at us and runs
dogs.
up to us. And we're in the car and we just didn't see them.
Yeah, and I didn't want to hit them, but also I didn't want
them. And they were jumping up and hitting the car.
Yeah, they were trying to jump. Yeah, scratching my paint on my vehicle.
That was kind of scary.
Yeah. Oh man, people are stupid.
I agree. It's just crazy. But hey, we're alive. We're well.
Barely.
Yeah.
And we're hanging in there. I mean, we were almost murdered, so...
We were all... So, who knows?
I also almost saw a dead body twice in my life. I don't know how many people can say that.
Well, you could have seen one if you wanted to. That guy seemed pretty adamant.
Yeah, that's true. What if we were yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay.
And then he took us in his house. He just has a freezer.
That's so scary.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I guess it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, we just want to say thanks to everybody who's been following us, liking us, engaging with us.
Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And then like and follow all of our other social media. That'll be linked in the description below.
And we'll keep you guys updated weekly with new podcasts.
Heck yeah. We're excited to keep creating content for you guys.
And hope you guys will stay on the ride.
Okay. Calm down. But all right, guys, have a good one.
See ya.
Nice.
It's a good rap.
That was a funny
ending.
You guys
stay on the ride. Damn, I'm just too funny, dude.